Well, let's just introduce. Hey, it's Making Waves, episode 117. We have the fine gentleman of Tigercub here who'll be joining us in February, and we can't thank them enough because they're on UK time, which puts them 6, 7 hours ahead of some of us. So, Jamie, James, Jimmy, thank you guys for taking your time.
Yeah,
Again, we appreciate it.
yeah, the legends.
And Chad obviously has made it known that he's a huge fan. I'm pretty new to you guys. Your name's been around in my head for a while, but I finally sat down and started really taking in who you were because you were going to be coming on the cruise. And I love the sound. It's all the sounds that I loved growing up. And I'm going to dare date myself like back in college in the 80s, early 90s, because it has. And I'm just going to name a drop because that's how I relate to things. And then eventually it's just Tigercub. It's no longer reminds me of this or that. I love both the Pixies and Queens of the Stone Age and Royal Blood. So I was like, they're kind of a nice right in the pocket there of that those sounds, which made me instantly look forward to seeing you guys.
Oh, that's really nice.
Amazing.
Glad you picked up on the Pixies thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
Big
can't
fan.
help but, and especially with some of the earlier stuff. The
Oh,
later
yeah,
stuff,
totally.
the later stuff is more of the first Queen's album where it's a little off kilter. Like I have to say this before I let Chad dig in. Perfume of Decay is a wonderful album, brand new album by you guys. But man, I tell you, it's one of those albums that doesn't let you rest. It kind of keeps you off kilter the whole time,
I'm
which I
glad.
think
Keeps you guessing.
music should make you kind of tap your feet, but like in a little bit of a jittery way. So I appreciate it. And Chad, I'll let you go, buddy, because this one's yours, baby.
Well, I'll start early. 2011 or 2012. Is that when you guys kind of started to do Tigercub as we know it? Three of you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
that's about right.
did you guys grow up with each other? Are you guys like similar ages, living in the same area? Or how did you find each other?
Yeah, more or less the same age. We're all from different parts of the UK. I'm from the northeast, Sunderland near Newcastle. Jim's from Reading. Jalex is from like Margate, Canterbury sort of area. And we all met in Brighton, where we all came to study
Gotcha.
at like University of Sussex and various different places. And Brighton's just like it's quite a small town, but there's like quite a dense population of like musicians and just like generally creative people there. So, it's not hard to bump into, a lot of buddies and peers and stuff like that from around town. So yeah, Brighton's where we all met, and that's where our home is. Although Jalix, our drummer, is in London at the minute. He's sort of drifted off a little
Got it.
bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on the satellite of Brighton, but that is like that is still our home. That's where we the band's kind of recorded everything that I think you can hear of ours is recorded in Brighton, and yeah, we based ourselves out of there since the start.
So when you guys start, so let me ask you this then. So there's three people that didn't know each other before going to university, and how did you meet each other then there? I mean, you guys, you're a three-piece band. You're clearly extremely well oriented within those your three human beings, your personalities, how you make music. But more importantly, like, was it an ad, that somebody that one of you guys posted, or how do you stumble upon each other while going to university and decide to start a band?
Well,
Well, it was
there's
funny.
a
It was
you,
like
you go, Jim.
James and Jamie were. I'm like the dad. I'm the old man because I was like 1 year above the two dudes at university, and I've been working at a recording studio facility for a really long time, kind of my whole adult life. And when Tigercub started, I'm not offended. They had a different bass player. Yeah, it's fine. That's how it worked out. But I used to do these really dumb nights at a venue that no longer exists called Risque Bisque. And I heard about this band Tigercub. They're making waves in town. And me and my mate Nige, who put the night on, we were like, let's put Tigercub on. And I thought they absolutely slapped. And I remember getting really, really drunk and sort of going up to the two guys after the gig and doing the really nerdy promoter thing of going like, oh, you guys are great. I'd love to join your band. Let me know. And then just so as that happens, like a couple of months later, the bass player left. And I stepped in for a gig that was like a few days in advance. And the chemistry was there, I think from the very get-go, we all kind of had a similar thing in mind. We all love sort of Brit pop and heavy music. And I don't know, all kinds of weird stuff, and we just clicked. So it's really
I
mad.
remember
Actually.
you I remember you setting up your bass for the first time, Jim, actually, and you got all your pedals out.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember me and Giles just being like, whoa, holy shit.
Yeah,
You just like, it was just
yeah. Our
like this
jaws just hit
dude.
the floor, just like,
It was crazy.
oh,
Yeah, like never really
here we
heard
go.
that many fuzz pedals stacked on top of each other going into an Ampeg SVT before.
How
We were
how
like, holy
small is
shit.
this guy's penis? Like, wow.
Yeah,
How
man.
fun.
What is he compensating for?
Yeah, what is he compensating for? My bass player also has stacks and stacks and stacks of effects when we first started playing with him, and then are you still playing with a lot, James, or did you move over to a Kemper or something like that, or do you actually carry the physical units with you?
Kind of, as I got older, you kind of figure out what's required live. So yeah, I remember, yeah, totally. And started Tigercub, I had this worm pedal, which was like a tremolo chorus. I had octave pedals. I had loads of fuzz pedals. But yeah, I mean, most of it just broke over the years. So I'm kind of down to, maybe 6 pedals, Sans amp. You kind of learn what's required, I guess.
Do you
Hey,
guys
can
still
I?
carry cabs? Oh, sorry, Justin, go
No, I just had to get this out of the way. If I didn't, I'd be upset at myself. I said, your mustache is outstanding.
ahead. It
I said
really
to throw
is.
I just had to throw that in there.
Man, likewise. I aspire to your whole setup at some point in my life. Come on.
Yeah,
That
same,
is a
Justin.
man
Just gonna
who
put that out there.
you both have a lot of fuzz pedals, that's for sure. Do you guys
To
still carry your do you guys still carry cabs and stuff too? Or have you come around to the modern times and went the Kemper route, yada yada yada?
that backline is super important. Like Jamie and I both need to be making a big noise on stage, otherwise it just feels like wrong. I mean, Jamie can talk about his setup, and certainly I'm really interested to move over to particularly neural DSP. I think that stuff is amazing. But just affording clothes and food for now is sort of priority for me. But I mean, if you're watching, give me a neural, dude. Give me a DSP. Come
Max rules. Yeah, come on, Max.
on,
Jamie, do
Max.
you
I think in a club setting, I think having a bit of backline pushing air is pretty important. There's a couple of times we've like metal bands always seem to be the first ones that like make the jump to these like digital amp modeling for things. And like we've done a couple of shows with some metal bands and they're all on Kempers and it just sounds like a drum kit in a room ambiently with a little bit of waspy guitar. So, if you're at like if you're doing like theaters and stuff like that, Kemper, Neural DSP, Helix, whatever it is like the only way to go really. Just keep the stage sound as quiet as possible if you've got a large enough PA, so you wouldn't know the difference. But for the size of Tigercub are, we're still making our way out of the club world. So me and Jim much prefer backline, just in line with the drums, old school,
It was actually
deafening
so
people.
funny. This year at Louder Than Life, we were reunited with our old buds, Royal Blood, and they've been using a lot of their same crew for years and years. So like when we toured with them in the UK in 2014, it was the same guy doing sound, Phil. And anyway, he saw us setting up on this huge stage at Louder Than Life. And in America, I used this PV Mark IV, which I found in Guitar Center for like $300. And it is a dog. I mean, it is really not a very professional piece of equipment. And Phil saw me and he goes, "Oh, Jim, is that thing going to make it through the gig, mate?" And you sort of look at the Royal Blood rig, which is just this pristine Rolls Royce of a guitar rig. And yeah, but it did make it through the gig. I think it was a really good show. And yeah.
It only went down a few times, but you got it going again.
I like electric shocks. It's exciting.
You guys just finished up a tour. You did the States in September, October, and then just finished up the UK one here in November. What was outside of Louder Than Life, which if you're a competent band of some sort, you're going to get a huge reaction from the crowd because it's so vast. What's it like though going into a club setting in the US? What's your reaction? How are people, what's the reaction to you guys? Have you built a loyal following at this point? Are you still just kind of working on that? What's going on with that?
So like on the coasts like New York and then like Midwest, Chicago, LA, Seattle, even Atlanta, like those places we get a really, really good turnout. So, there'll be there'll be 100 to 200 kids that show out that are really really stoked. But we're trying to sort of do it in America. So on the last run, we were doing places that we'd never ever been to, never driven through. Just like Vienna and stuff like that, and Covington in Kentucky, and obviously that was next to Louder Than Life, so it made sense routing wise. But we were sort of like pulling up into these towns, these cities, just being like, God, who knows if there's a Tigercub show on tonight? Who's heard of Tigercub? We're so far away from home. So those shows they were a nice surprise. They were quite humbling, but also it's like, all right, we've got 100 kids in here tonight that that are up for it, and they've come and bought a ticket.
Austin was so
yeah,
special.
Austin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Austin was,
Those, those
Texas and the South, so it was great.
any
I
of
watched
those
a live video
universities.
from
Yeah.
Austin earlier.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's a show you're referring to. Is just the most recent. You have it on your YouTube page.
Those kind of progressive, kind of big cities and the college university towns, usually, their radio is there. Their daily readers are there that are really in tune to music and stuff like that. And the community is huge. I'm always though interested to hear about Covington, Kentucky, and all these other places we were rolling through. And as a European or an English band, and you're just going through some of these towns you probably never even knew were on the map, is it just kind of very eye-opening how long it takes to get across this damn country?
It's insane. Yeah, it's insane. It's kind of fun. It's like now that I'm out of it, I'm kind of taking stock of everything, and I'm realizing how much of a blast that all was. But at the time, it was like, man, driving from like Atlanta all the way up to Detroit for a festival, and just back and forth, and getting used to like 10-hour drives. So like this UK tour that we did recently, we were like, oh my God, it's only 4 hours today. It's an absolute breeze.
That was like
our
the longest drive.
perspective has changed.
Yeah, it's funny ending that tour with that UK run. Some of the drives is just like we'd gotten so used to the sight of America that like some days we'd just head out like an hour before load in, just like, where's the rest of the drive? We don't have to do it.
Yeah, but obviously that adds to your story and your bio as you kind of go along. So in 5 years you can go, remember those times? And it reminds me of like the early punk days in the 80s when bands were like, we're going to DIY the hell out of this thing, right? And we're going to show up. Who knows who's going to be there? Hopefully some people made some calls, or people they sent letters back and forth, check this band out. And well, that's cool. I just want to get a kind of a feel for where you guys are at with that as far as touring the States. But you're right. Louder Than Life offers you kind of this entree into a bigger audience who do kind of a brand loyalty thing. Like they're always going to that festival, and any band that's on there that they remember, they're going to go see them next time they're in town.
That's so true. And that's one
we've
really
met
great
so
thing.
many people on the road that are just like, oh, we're going to see you at Shiprocked as well. Or like, we heard of you through Shiprocked when they announced the lineup. We've been going for like, we've gone for the last like 5 years or whatever. Yeah.
It's funny. Sorry, Chad.
No,
I just want to get
ahead.
one point in. It's funny because Shiprock before is like, we always look at who the headliners are, but we're like, we've seen these bands before. We know their names. It's the undercard that really gets people talking, right? It's the younger bands that come in, first time bands we've had, and you guys fall into that category. So that's where the interest lies, because now people are starting to build their Spotify playlists and throwing you in there. And then they go, oh, I'll add another track. Have another track. Oh shit, this track's on there too. I'll get that. So that's where that kind of your synergy grows, right? Is these people starting to really familiarize themselves, because when they come here in February for us, they want to know every song and sing it back to you when you're playing.
Yeah,
Wow.
they're extremely loyal group of people, and once you're in. So welcome.
Yeah, I was checking out some of the previous lineups actually the other day, and you do see a lot of repeat appearances from certain bands. Bad Flower, who are on this year, I think they've done at least one or two before. Some of the lineups are amazing over the years. I saw Korn have played it, Limp Bizkit. It's quite amazing lineage of bands that you're entering into. And yeah, it does remind me, in the UK we used to have ATP. I don't think ATP exists anymore, but it's where old Butlins like kind of corny holiday parks would be taken over with like bands would curate. I remember going to one that was like Phantomus and Battles and Les Savy Fav and these amazing bands playing Minehead Butlins. And it's a special thing because you use the little facilities in these holiday parks, the swimming pool or whatever, and there's like, you know, King Buzz is there waiting for a go on the water slide or whatever. It's like special.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that meat and potato, going back to your recent tour, I wanted to kind of ask. So Atlanta, I was at your Detroit show, right? So I know that that was a radio festival. You guys played on the second stage outside, and I saw I saw the connection. You know, it's early, it's during the day. You know, my band's played it certainly, so I know exactly where you're at mentally, but I don't know where you're at in Atlanta or that 12-hour drive. How you know you traverse through there. I'm assuming it's probably a club show in Atlanta before the Detroit festival show.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you're driving out of Atlanta and coming into Detroit, you have that long drive. I'll harken back to what we were just talking about. What kind of activities did you find yourself doing to kill the time in the meat and potato spaces of the Midwest? And I'll follow that up with is when you have that early morning load in, right? And you're not sure what to expect when it is not a louder than life per se, but like a radio festival when you're playing the second stage and it's not even inside of the actual venue. Does that take any of the wind from your sails, you know, when you arrive after that long drive of playing a club, blah, blah, blah?
No, that's such a good question. And touring's about endurance. And like I think, you know, we've toured a lot in the UK and Europe, and I guess we've developed sort of like medicinal relationships with like marijuana and alcohol and stuff like that, which is not so much in a party sense, it's just in a kind of like coping mechanism sense. But we've all got our off switches, and we all know, you know, when we have to rest, when we need to just take time to get that extra hour's sleep in the van if we can. And it's in the morning, it's those high pressure moments, which, you know, I think the real great bands and the bands that progress through these stages, they're able to transcend those difficult moments where it's like you basically like that show in Detroit. We were in a car park. Sound checking was people were queuing to get in at about, what was it, like 11:30 in the morning, and our stage time was about 3:30, 4 p.m. And then we had signings to do in between that. We were using one member of crew out with us, so you know we're loading all our own gear, which is absolutely fine. But there's just no downtime, no time to really warm up or anything like that. So you're relying on this trained, you know, motor reactive muscle memory from all the touring and all of that time spent in the back of the van. That's what gets you through those moments, you know. And it's sort of like Space Invaders at that point. It's just like you're just trying to get through to the end with all your gear intact. Hopefully my voice holds up. I'm not going to get ill. You know, I'm a smoker as well, so like that's another thing. You just sort of like develop this like thick skin, this hard shell, and it's got to a point now where we could suffer the worst on stage sound and everything goes wrong. But I think we've been playing together for so long, and we've been through so many of these like true moments of adversity together that like we can just overcome anything, you know. And that Detroit show, loads of stuff was going wrong. You know, a new favorite, which is not being able to see your guitar tuner because you're playing a midday set on like in like Daytona or something at midday, wearing a black turtleneck like I was because I'm an idiot.
Even
and it's just like little things like that, you know.
Yeah.
But that
James
Detroit festival was amazing as well. And actually what's super therapeutic and amazing now, actually, because we've done 4 runs of the States, is that we got to that festival and our buddies were there, like Des Rocks and Bad Flower and these people we've got like real good friendships with now. So, you know, you see Danny and Joey and these guys that you've shared really like special times with, and that's quite, you know, a lot of weight lifts off your shoulders. You think, oh, come on, I can do this today. I'll do it for my.
Danny comes walking up to you, chewing gum, clicking his fingers as if he's like from a West End musical or something. He's so great.
You know, it's funny. people tend to overlook the idea that what you guys just explained. Hey, we're doing this long drive. We're sound checking while people are queuing up, so there's no real surprise element. They're already seeing us.
Yeah.
You're loading in. You're doing this. You got radio. You got probably some signings if you have to, and then you're trying to grab whatever you can is from catering, and then you have to get on stage for 45 minutes and act like it's the best show with the greatest crowd, being emotive, letting people feel it. You're trying to feel them out, and the exhaustion level is like basically creeping up the back of your neck. But
Yeah,
that's the thing, is like you got to soldier on, and that's one of those things that you just, until you do it, you just don't know. And
Totally, man. And it's
yeah,
sort of it's the best bit and the worst bit. Do you know what I mean?
sure.
That like I don't know, it's just this sort of magical in between place I find where I go into like a fugue state and you just got to get there. And that's
Mm,
the difference, you know, all the big bands, all the pros, all the true greats, they can turn it on a dime, you know, because that's
yeah,
what greatness is for me, you know.
yeah,
So it's like, it's fun to suffer through because you know it's for the cause, man. And like, there's nothing better than like getting through a show and it's gone well. And, you know, the day's work is nearly over, the most important part of your day. Because that's another thing about touring is you make all of these sacrifices, you spend all of this time in preparation for 40 minutes of the day. It's such a small percentage of what that actual day is made up. And there's so much that
yeah,
goes into that in
yeah,
preparation for this moment that you want to share with people. When that
yeah,
goes well, it's the best feeling ever. I just want to smoke like 100 cigarettes and drink all the beers available in the world. After that,
Mhm.
it's the best fit. It's all worth it then. And then it starts again. You know, you
I
wake
love I
up,
love that idea,
you
because
got
I'm
another
not.
load
I
in.
mean, I'm not an advocate of cigarettes and stuff like that, but you know what? I just love the idea of that kind of old school smoke 100 cigarettes, drink beers, play rock and roll. It's like that's kind of like, it just kind of romanticizes the whole rock and roll thing back from back in the day.
Yeah,
I
dude.
just
For real.
those stories are great. Yeah, for sure.
Love it, man.
You
Yeah,
got
that's what it's all about.
those 40 minutes. There's 3 or 4 of them, right? And I'm talking about your favorite song to play in your playlist in your set list for that day. I'm assuming it's probably something that you're doing every single day if you're on a tour. What is it? What was it? Okay, so what was it in Atlanta and what was it in Detroit, if you can recall that, or any situation
Well,
where you're playing a club and then you're playing an outdoor festival? What's your favorite song in your set list to perform in those
for me
each?
personally,
Yeah,
we've got this one song that works everywhere we play it, and that's "Stop Beating on My Heart Like a Bass Drum." You
it's
know,
my
so
favorite song.
that as far as like gratification from nearly every audience we play to, I mean, on the whole tour, I could probably count on like one hand the amount of times I've not sung the like a bass drum bit and had the crowd sing it instead, and it works every time. Um, Even with a cold call audience like Louder Than Life or Riff Fest, where it's kind of like a support set. There's not a lot of people in the crowd that may have heard of you, so you go into like support mode. You want to win people over. Even in those circumstances, that song seems to translate with people. So that one for me is like, it's just like the little cherry on the cake of the set. I've got other, personal favorites that are just for me, that I enjoy no matter what. But like a bass drum seems to just do the business for us every time.
What's the party in the back if that's the business in the front? What
I'll let
track
the
would you
boys
say?
answer that one.
Yeah.
What do I like playing? I got to say, I've really been enjoying playing Control actually the last couple of months. That one's like, it's like one of our first sort of big landing singles. And when I'm playing that on stage, I can kind of picture us playing that at any point over the last like 6 or 7 years. It's weird. It's like, yeah, yeah, certainly when we finished the tour in Portsmouth last week, I was like, oh wow, this one. It's weird. It's not a song that people are gonna mosh to or sort of go mad to, but yeah, you sort of look out and it's like I don't know, people who have known us for a long time, that's always a special one. So yeah, for me, I'd probably say that.
We do have this song called Memory Boy as well, which when we were supporting Clutch in the States, we were first of three, and the second band on was a group um, from New Orleans called I Hate God, who are fucking great,
Yeah.
but they're absolutely maximum.
Yeah,
And I
terrifying
used to
too.
joke every night. I was just like, "You're gonna love I Hate God." They make us sound like Coldplay, and that's just totally true. You know, they make us sound like the biggest wusses in the
great.
world. So
Yeah.
born out of that, we were like, "All right, we've got this song, Memory Boy. Let's drag it out and elongate it all, and almost turn it into a jam." And now that song, through touring it over and over again, it's become this point in the set where like it's sandwiched in between these tightly rehearsed, well recited photographs of what our recordings sound like. Do you know what I mean? We're like, for most of the set, we're not steering away from, you know, the tracks. We want it to sound like the best possible representation, like better than the record. Whereas Memory Boy now is this moment where fucking anything could happen. And it's sometimes it sounds fucking shit. Sometimes it's the best song in our set. And it's for me, playing this set over and over every night, that's a really nice little moment of chance encounter where I think we can all kind of express ourselves and all just like fly by the seat of our pants. So every night it's kind of different, and sometimes it's shit, and sometimes it's okay, and sometimes it's fucking brilliant. You know, so I'm really grateful that we have that track in our set list. You know, I think things like that are important, you know, as just like counterpoint, you know.
Yeah, moments like that tie your rooms together too. The three of you as players, I would assume. I mean, James, you've been real quiet here, but as a drummer, what is your what's your moment? What's your favorite moment in your set?
My take on these. Well, I I've just been really loving playing all the new tunes, all the ones off the latest record. Um, Probably because they're just fresher. And you know, we've done a lot of shows, so I've played all the songs a lot of times. But also because I just think like I think it on those that what we're reciting on stage are like really considered parts, and like I just think we play off of each other really like in the most like with the most synergy, or like more synergy than ever. And like I can really feel that when I'm playing. And particularly on there's this one at the end of the album called Shadow Graph, which I'm loving playing that one at the moment in the live set. Just like um yeah, towards the end we reach this kind of like this peak where we're all just like proper going for it, and it just feels like we're just this I just feel like fully in it. Like I'm like not thinking about playing, I'm playing.
Yeah,
And that's just like a really great moment to be in.
those are the best.
So
Yeah,
When
the
you
man.
new
can
That's what it's
forget who
all
you
about.
are, you know. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so,
man.
so let's talk about the new album, Perfume of Decay. It's very cinematic in scope. Like each song seems like its own little chapter in a larger novel, right? It's all got its own feel. There's one song in particular, I think it's called We're a Long Time Gone. And you can tell me if I'm fucking nuts, but I was like, you know what? If they were a hard rock band, this could be a Simon and Garfunkel song.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
I'll
I
take
hear
it.
that.
I love Simon
It
Garfunkel.
it just had that feel when I first heard it. I was like, my mind just went there, just went Simon and Garfunkel, because I've been on a Simon and Garfunkel kick. But I was like, God, this is right up that alley, man. Because it's kind of like the album's kind of crushing, and then you come to a few of the songs where they kind of you guys pull it back a little bit, and that was just one of those songs. And those are always the intriguing songs for me on rock records, is when you kind of pull back and you give yourself a breather and you just kind of bring people in, maybe bring in a different part of your audience that isn't into the hard rockers, that maybe want something a little bit more, I don't know, ethereal or whatever you want to use. But yeah, the whole album to me though, it just sounds like one big like movie.
it
Fucking
does.
sick.
Yeah.
Jamie, did
Thank you.
you produce the record, right? You guys produced this last one internally, or did
Yeah,
you
I
have it?
produced it.
Okay.
But it was like it was Tigercub in a room talking about songs and making creative decisions together.
Yeah.
You know, so I came up with the idea of what the album could be, and then we kicked the shit out of it together. So
That's the way. But you've had a
yeah,
you've had an onslaught and I don't know if many people know this, especially if our listeners are listening very closely here. The pedigree of folks that you've had along the way, you know, whether that be helping to produce things or now putting out this last record. You just the label is owned by Stone, right, from Pearl Jam, right? So he owns the label that's
Yeah.
put this record that you guys produced internally out. The last record was produced by, oh my God, why am I forgetting his name? What was who just produced the As Blue as Indigo again?
That was Adrian Bushby.
Yeah, and he did like what fucking Foo Fighters, U2, Spice Girls, right, and shit. Okay, yeah,
He had
Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
played bass on
amazing-
some Spice Girl stuff.
yeah. And before that, I mean, I'm not exactly sure who produced Abstract, but you had
Oh,
was that
Alex Newport. Alex
Yeah.
Newport, amazing guy. Yeah.
From
Was
Fudge
it-
Tunnel?
Yeah, dude.
yeah,
That guy?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Man, oh man.
He's
He's
amazing.
the man.
being
They're
in the
still
rooms
around?
with people like that, it has got to lend I mean, you can hear it. You guys are well tuned, well oiled. You understand what your your objectives are with a record. The three of you producing this last one was the best decision you could have possibly made. As a fan of your band, I'm immensely happy when I listened to it. I was like, oh, this fucking slaps. The last record, it moved me in a way that a rock record hasn't moved me probably since I'm 40, since I was like 13 or 14. You know, that sort of
Wow.
like shit where like, and the first time I heard Funeral, I honestly did not know it was, I was like, I don't know who this is, but it sounds like somebody's covering a Beatles song.
Mm.
And that's why I was that's how I was introduced to your band. Just it came on Spotify and one of my like one of those algorithmic playlists, and then I dug in deeper and deeper and deeper, and I was like, this is amazing. But you putting all those tools together, I mean, who would you have? Didn't Tom Delgetty do something with you guys as well?
Oh
Right?
no, Tom's like a super close friend of ours, and he's sort of like he's always orbiting and he's always around and like yeah, we've never strictly had a sort of experience with Tom where he's sat us down and we've done a whole record with him, but he's always involved like in everything, generally in the mix, because I don't know what he does, but he does things to your songs where they can go on the radio and not sound out of place. I don't know what it is, but yeah, Tom is a legend for sure.
Yeah, Pixies. I mean, all the good shit. So how did, I mean, this is a kind of like a question I don't know if you can answer, but I hope you can give us some sort of a inclination. How do you find yourself stepping in these waters over and over again? Is it by virtue of chance, or is it by communication, you know, putting yourself up, opening up lines to people you don't know, you know, previously? Can you kind of give us the
I
hint?
guess it's a bit of a mixture of all things, really. And I can remember I think first and foremost, I don't know, there's quite a long breadcrumb trail of like a lot of goodwill from mainly people in bands giving us a break. So, you know, just to bring it back to one of the first bands you mentioned, Dinosaur Pilot,
Matt.
pretty much out of the blue, just sent us a cold call email saying, I love this. Can you guys come on tour with Dinosaur Pilot for their second record? And that was in 2013. We obviously said yes.
We had like one song out.
Yeah. So I don't know whether that's luck. I don't know whether it's so hard because we're so close to the songs. I can't tell whether they're shit or not, you know, but I don't know whether just the music was really good. So people heard it and it was word of mouth, or luck, fate, God, whatever it was. But Matt, you know, threw his vote of confidence in early, and his producer was Tom Dalgetty. And through Tom, we met Royal Blood. They took us out on tour with them. We got a record deal off the back of that. And then, you know, Blood Red Shoes guys were all part of that family as well. And Brighton Electric, the studio that Jimmy runs, you know, that was a massive, like, cultural hub, especially at that time. So we've just been like connecting the dots. And I think Alex Newport heard of us through a single we released on a record label called Too Pure. It's like a singles club thing.
Yeah.
And it's just all these little things. And then like Ven Records, you know, you just get all of these tiny little connections, and enough people going like, oh yeah, I know, I've heard of that band because my mate told me about it. And loads of those people happen to be in quite influential positions in the music industry. That said, at the time, we couldn't get a deal for love nor money. We were just operating on charity from really interesting people in influential places that weren't record labels, really. We got turned down by everyone and saw, our peers get signed and move forward much quicker than us, So we've been on a much slower ascent than a lot of other bands that have just managed to get all of the, industry pieces to click. So I guess we've sort of been a band's band for a while, and we're just trying to break out of that. But it's still, that's the path we're on, because we find ourselves on an indie record label, even though it's got all of this power of a major just connecting into the orchard. But we still have Stone from Pearl Jam, who's knocking on doors saying, hey, have you heard this band? I really like it. So it's kind of hard to like surmise, and I feel like I'm just rambling now. But
no, but it's so true, isn't it? Because it has been a very sort of slow, organic, word of mouth. We've sort of been given stamps of approval by cool people as we go through it. It's never been forced into people's throats, and we've never had to do the kind of like heavy campaign sort of thing. It's always been the music that we've released has always been stuff we've been really proud of. We've never had to like suddenly come up with like a group of songs. So we've been really lucky in that way. Like Jamie touched on, for our second record, it was like it took so long to kind of get something together that by the time all that stuff happened, I think the songs were in a really good place. So I mean that particular album we recorded right at the start of is that the one we recorded at the start of the lockdown? Is that right?
It was 2020, March 2020.
Mm.
And again, Aid just hit us up on Instagram.
Yeah, you wouldn't leave us alone.
And he was like, do you want to make a record? And we were like, okay.
One of the things I really love about this record is it introduces itself very quickly into what you're into. Once you get into the self-titled track, that off-kilter guitar right at the onset, like, oh, this is where I'm going for the next hour. And the only other album that seriously, I'm just making a connection because I was like, what other album out of the box told me where I was going? And that's Slayer's Rain and Blood. First 20 seconds of Angel of Death with that scream Mariah puts out, you're like, I know where I'm going for the next 35 minutes. Same with your album. It's like this kind of like, oh, okay, I better sit down or stand up for this next hour with your album. So that's kind of how I felt when I first heard that lick. And that was the first thing that I ever heard from you guys. And I was like, oh, I'm in. So yeah.
That's so rad.
Very cool. That immediate, when you get that immediate reaction and you're like, not like repulsed, you're like interested, like, okay, I want to see where this goes, because a lot of music now is so homogenized, and you're kind of like, wow, I need someone to throw me a really hard curveball. And you guys did that. So yeah, kudos. Yeah.
I'm glad it spoke to you, man, and you dig what we do.
It piques my interest, man. I always like to just like sometimes like, let's throw a tin can down these stairs and see what sounds we get out of it, right? I'm in for that. Let's see where we're going.
Totally.
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
You can tell it's highly personal. Like for all three of you, when I listen to it's a fucking book. It's not a page. Your records are like Justin just said, sit down, put your headphones on and listen to it. It's the entirety of your emotions. It's not just one. Hearing Funeral for me, I wept. I was like, who the fuck is this? Because I was like, this isn't a Beatles song. Who is this? I know it wasn't, but it just sounded so timeless. Maybe that's why I was like,
that's such a lovely thing to hear as a songwriter, to hear that you like that song so much. That makes me feel really happy. I'm
happy that you feel that way, because it brings me
a lot
of joy.
Obviously,
Well, I mean, it's important. Not that those are, as a musician, somebody is up here done these rooms and made these records, and there's not a lot of times that happens where like you put yourself in the shoes. And then
we're all massive Beatles fans, and I love that you mentioned them, because like yeah, we all connect massively on the Beatles. And I think for anyone who's like, you know, we weren't there in the 60s, but the story of that band and the story of each record, and, you know, we were on tour when that new one, Now and Then, came out, and there's nothing wrong with that song at all. I like the song, it's cool, but at the same time, it's like, it's come out of nowhere with no real context. Whereas when you put on Rubber Soul, you're like imagining what that must have been like on the session and this group of songs and the yeah, I mean, I'll happily shed a tear to like In My Life. I mean, God.
Have you checked out the demo, the John Lennon? He wrote it in like 1977, and there's this demo of it online, Now and Then.
I haven't heard it.
And you should check it out. It's really, really cool. It's like clearly he's just recorded it to like 1/2-inch tape or something, or whatever, an 8-track.
It was a little
And
indifferent when
they've
they
cut
came out.
loads-
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's
Yeah.
different. Yeah, different time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I was like, part of me is like, man, this feels like a Noel Gallagher demo.
It's quite sparkly, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the video, if you watch the video with Now and Then, that kind of completes the song in a way, watching
Sure.
Ringo and Paul sort of like, I don't know, take a reminisce of, I don't know, there's something that sort of completes the picture for me when the video's in the mix. But as
Yeah.
a song, as a standalone, I don't know. Who am I to criticize the Beatles, though?
Going back to the funeral real quick, you did this video. It's in a church, St. Mary's Church or something, right? Live performance, right? Yeah. It
Yeah.
felt just so. It feels that if you haven't heard it, if you're listening to this, go listen to the song, then go watch the video, because that performance, it feels exactly like I was hoping it would feel like in a live setting in general. You know, it's got power behind it. I'll stop talking about funeral, but
It's great. I love it. It's so good. No, that the acoustics in that church are something else. It's like that alone, just being in that building, and just hearing the ambience of your, you know, just walking down the aisle or whatever is just stunning. So whatever you put in that room, it's just gonna sing. And it was made for a song like
Apart
that.
from a drum kit.
yeah, apart from a drum kit,
That would have been
Slayer.
terrible.
there's nothing worse than a snare in that room, but everything else is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So are you guys friendly or familiar with Yonica? I think they reside in Brighton as well.
Yeah.
Known them for a long time.
Yeah, we know them.
Okay, great. Well,
I
good.
think
They
they're
have
in the
little
States at the minute. They're touring at the minute with can't remember
oh,
his
what's the name of that dude? Shit, I wrote about it. I can't remember.
He's I normally I would look it up, but I'm trying not to do that.
I'm looking it up. I'm Google.
Yeah.
I'm getting it.
Who
Put
are
us
they
out of our
on?
misery.
While
Yeah,
he's
I
doing
thought they were on a
that,
headline tour.
what yeah,
Nah.
what's your goals? Like, what is the goal here? Is there like an ultimate, if you tour this with this act, it's a bucket list, I don't need anything else after that, is just superfluous, or is there like, is it like a record? What does you want to do with this project? Can I ask that individually too?
Yeah, do it individually, because I think you'll get sort of varying answers member to member.
It's funny, like it's so weird when you start off as a band and all you want to do is like sell out a room in your hometown. So I remember we managed to sell out the Green Door store in Brighton. That was the first thing where I was like, well, if we sell out the Green Door, then we've done really well. And then you think, well, it'd be cool to play Concord, or, you know, that would be good. And then you think, oh, well, as long as we get to Germany, that's cool. We've done what the Beatles did, play Hamburg, whatever. And as you go through your career and you don't stop, the goalposts just keep moving. So now we've done America. I mean, it would be really good to get to Japan. And if we can just do Japan, then I'm done. And then, but I think ultimately for me, I just want to leave our little mark on music. So in 100 years' time or 200 years' time, someone can just find a little thing, pull a thread and find something and be moved by it. There's this amazing line. For some reason at the moment, I've got a massive hard on for the Christopher Nolan film Tenet. And there's this amazing line in it where it's like we're constantly speaking to the future every day, and emails and pictures and things that we leave on the internet. So yeah, I guess for me now, it's that really. My goal with this project is just to sort of leave a thing for people, as much as it is to kind of experience what we experience doing the shows as well, I would say.
Yeah, dude.
It's gonna just take one person to be you're their favorite band of all time, and that's even when your band decides, hey, we're gonna move on to something else, whatever. Got, knock on wood. Then that one person, all it takes is that one person to be moved by it to the point where they take that to their grave. Like, there's one band I really love. What happened to those guys? Remember those guys? That's all you have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
That's
hopefully
it, man. We actually get that. Like, we don't like where we are as a band at the moment. Like, we'll go out and we'll be playing in like, for the first time in a town like, say, like Oakland in California or something, and like we haven't got mass appeal, I think, yet. But like, what we do have is like fans that don't just like our band and they're like, oh yeah, I'll go and check that out. But like fans that like love our band, and like we'll go out and I'll meet someone that will say they've been waiting years to see us, and we're their favorite band and stuff. And like that's a lot to wrap your head around. And it's funny when you ask something like what's the goal, like it just kind of, that just fills me with questions with like kind of like, I don't know, where, if we're at that point now, like where's it going to be in another like 5 years, 10 years, and like what, like Jim said, the goalposts are always moving, and it's just quite interesting to ponder like what that's going to look like as things go on. It's interesting.
In 5 years, you guys are going to have flying dragons above your stage. That'll be part of your production. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like that.
Yeah, flying dragons way ahead of you. Yeah, we've already drawn up the blueprints for that. I think like
Hey, that Jamie, that artist was Barnes Courtney.
Barnes County, that's the one. Yeah,
Oh, right, Yannick are out with.
Yeah.
that's who they're out with. Yeah, I
Hey,
think they're
so
doing, like, a
okay.
whole-
Wait,
a
hold
whole-
on, Justin. Jamie, what's your goal?
Oh, sorry. I thought they'd all gotten
no,
to
it's
their
all good.
goals.
Similar to the boys, it is nice playing to sold out crowds, and we did some bigger gigs in Brighton and London, which were like closer to 1,000, with all these kids going fucking insane and like chanting our name and stuff like that. And I find that very, very intoxicating, and I want more of that for sure. I love that. But mainly, like, one of the things I think a degree of success can afford you is access to resources. And if we can get ourselves into a position where we can like fully realize our creative visions and not be quite as restrained as we have been in the past by, things like not having enough money to do stuff, or having to do shows or do things that we feel maybe a little bit beneath us artistically, but financially they make sense. If we can sort of unshackle ourselves from any need to do those things and realize our creative vision as the three of us without compromise, I just think we can do some fucking amazing stuff and push culture forward, and make more of a mark. It's just, there's no one set goal for me. It's like a multitude of things that run in parallel and are often contradictory to each other. On the one hand, I want to be artistically integral, but on the other hand, I fucking love pop music, and I get a kick out of the challenge of making a song that's tight, succinct, to the point, knows what it is, can communicate its message to people really quickly, really effectively, and can bring enjoyment to a lot of people. So it's just like this constant conversation I've been having, which is like artistic integrity versus popular viability. And it's just I'll constantly be asking that question for the rest of my career, but yeah, I don't know. I've run out of steam.
There's nothing wrong. You guys could have all just said, hey, we just want to headline Glastonbury. Totally would have been realistic and within your reach. And there's nothing wrong with every band wanting a Wonderwall, right? Who doesn't want that in their canon? Because Noel or whoever, I'm not an Oasis, I love them, but I'm just bringing up examples. Like they didn't write it with like, hey, this just sounds like a really good song. We don't expect it to put us globally, but there's nothing wrong with that, man. That's, you know, it's the old cliche. What's popular music? It's the music that people like, you know?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
It's
No
just-
shame in that at all.
Go write
Exactly.
the biggest friggin' song, staying within the
Yeah,
realms of
man.
what you love. Hey, we love pop music. We readily admit we love pop music. There's nothing wrong with writing a pop song that 15-year-old girls love too.
Totally, man.
Just
Yeah.
want to
Good
pop
music's
off in
good
that
music.
meme culture, you know what I'm saying? I just want to be a meme.
Nothing wrong with memeing. You ain't memeing, you ain't trying, right?
I think
you
the
guys-
fear is when you see some of our, you know, your peers bands or groups that you absolutely love and they take a turn towards pop music, sometimes they can really damage their legacy by sort of chasing pop. I think it's in that respect, you know, Tigercub having had, now that we've got a back catalogue, we almost kind of need to protect that and take that into consideration. Or maybe I should just keep it simple and let's just write Wonderwall.
You know,
fucking
well, you
go
know
for
what?
it.
You,
I
or
don't
you
know.
just you take your idea of what Big Pop could be under a Tigercub thing, and you turn it onto something like Queen, right? Radio
Mhm.
Gaga, that's a Queen song, but damn, it's used at the pop audience.
Yeah,
Mhm.
man.
Integrity
for real.
kept.
Yeah. Check.
Just saying, it's
You're
right
a
there
meme,
for
dude.
you.
That's how.
Yeah, that's a good thing about the musical landscape now. It's changed, and the rules are they're tossed away into the dustbin. No one cares.
That
Just
is
do what
very
you want to
true.
do, right?
Yeah.
You
So
know?
true.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
true.
We want to talk to you real quick about the boat, because we know we've almost had you guys an hour. Have you guys ever been on a cruise just as a pleasure, for a pleasure vehicle, or have you done a cruise before as far as performing?
I've been on the ferry to Amsterdam. Yeah.
Best
that's
ride of your
about
life.
as close as I've got.
I do that every day, and then on twice on Sunday. That's awesome. But you've never been on like a cruise ship going in the Caribbean or anything nature. No.
No.
Okay.
No.
So that's good.
Nothing
You get
like
that
it.
out of the way. You get that off your bucket list. But then to perform, and then you're doing it with an audience that is super hungry to hear what you have, because, well, you know, now you're part of their experience, which they absolutely love, and now you're part of the brand that they love, and you're a part of their family, and now they want to check you out. So, you know,
I bet
those
it's gonna be
100
insane.
those 100 you're getting in a show in Covington, Kentucky now becomes 700 on the back lounge of this boat.
Mm.
And it's staggering and it's overwhelming, and they're all partying, and they're all, you know, they're so removed from reality because they're on the boat in the middle of the fucking ocean. I mean, hi. This is, you know, they're having their best life, and they're sharing that with you, and the energy is immense. So I look forward to seeing you guys just kind of absorb all that, and then be at the bar later, and they're like, you're having great conversations with these people, because the whole fan artist thing kind of like after the first hello goes away. Now it's just adults talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Wow,
Respect is
you're
like
really selling it,
very-
man.
Yeah.
You-
Respect is
I-
very
I'm doing-
integral to them. It's super dope to see
Yeah.
that line not be crossed, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, have you got any
Yeah.
tips for like what to pack? I mean, do we need
Underwear. Just underwear.
just
So
under-
we have these
Just
theme
underwear.
nights every night. So if you look down the theme nights, you go, hey, there's something that's doable, that's not going to be too much to pack or whatever. You can get kind of in the spirit of things. But sometimes you just go and you just be an observer and just be part of it. Sometimes you're like, you know, we don't want to join the circus. We're performing for the animals in the circus. We're going to let them do it. We're going to do our own thing. Pack light, because quite honestly, no one cares what you wear unless you have specified stage clothes.
Oh no, well, nothing
But
tips.
make it fun. I mean, we have some of the heaviest bands in the world. They'll come out in, like matching like tropical onesies just to get in the spirit of things, right? Just taking a piss.
So we could all
Okay.
kind of I could get a pineapple costume, Jamie could be a banana,
Yep,
James could be a papaya, maybe something
Yep.
like that.
absolutely,
Sounds
absolutely.
good.
Done.
And,
Well, that was easy.
Yeah.
it's just kind of it's just fun. It's just God, Chad, you can help me out with this, but I say come with zero expectations and walk away blown away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think
I'm really
Nirvana
interested
wrote a
in
song called
Stowaways. What's the
Just-
difference in Stowaways? So this is a band. Like, are the Stowaways a cover band?
Yeah,
Yes.
kind of. Yes and no.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so we put together a super group of many musicians. Most of them aren't on the ship. Their bands aren't playing. They're just, a drummer from this band, a guitar player from this band, a bunch of vocalists from these bands, and then some folks that are playing with their band on the ship will also join in it. We curate 2 sets on the main stage, two different sets, and the members just keep changing through each song essentially. So it might be the same vocalist for like 2 songs, but the guitar, like Joey from Bad Flower might play guitar in one of those songs, but then they flip it, and then the guy from Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm might come up and play guitar on the next one, that sort of thing. But they've not rehearsed as a band wholly until they get on the ship. We go in this back lounge and we rehearse 2 times, one for each set, and then we go and we play. And it's fucking awesome, to see it all kind of come together. People you never thought in your whole life would ever be on a stage together, let alone playing, in a band together. It's cool.
Well, that's Joey, right? Because like when we were on tour with Bad Flower, after a couple of shows, he's like, "Oh yeah, just come on stage for this song." And me and Jamie are like, "What? Why? How? What would?" But lo and behold, after a couple of weeks on the road, there's video footage of like all 3 bands on stage. It's like an absolute circus. It's amazing.
Yeah.
One of the
It's
things
like
I
that.
can tell you, which I could recommend, is like we have a lot of activities, a lot of fun activities, everything from like beer pong to drunken spelling bee, is to try to get involved and it's sometimes call the artist and say, hey, you want to host this or you want to be a part of this? Be a part of everything, because that like basically the fans say you want to be a part of this experience with them, and it really does, like, they feel that extra love that you're getting from it. Plus, it's just a gas to see these people. I mean, some of these people are like super white collar, like high, like lawyers and doctors, but they're just like, they're playing dodgeball. It's just fucking crazy stuff. So I just say, get involved where you want, or stay removed, but certainly get out there and just kind of, move about the place and let people see you, meet people. And you will find yourself in situations, since you're not on a tour. It's kind of like, play your sets, but then like you say, you'll get on stage with so-and-so because they're doing the song. Hey, you want to come up and help? And you can just really improvise and just get involved in these jam sessions or whatever you find yourself into. I say, just go for it, do it, enjoy it, because it's a memory you're going to have as well.
Yeah.
And then next time you come back, you'll be better prepared, and you go, okay, we know what we're going to do. We're going to do this time. Yeah.
Got him.
Covington will have 500 people.
What a thing. What
Yeah,
an exciting thing you guys have got there. Thank
It's
you
exciting,
for letting us be a part of it. It's just
it's
so
awesome.
exciting.
It's discovery for bands is like a big deal for us. Like, we want bands that are new to us that we're getting turned on to. Well, we've got this 4,000 people. We could kind of turn them on to this band as well, and maybe that'll help them. And we just want people to turn, and plus we want to see them like, hey, those guys have really good musical taste. So, we want to curate as cool a thing we can, where we have bands that are really well known. That helps, obviously, but then you want to show these bands like, hey, there's these other things. We want music, because these people are super like music files. They'll travel everywhere to go see bands that you're like, that band. And we have a group of like 40 or 50. We call them the Swedes. They're all from Sweden. And when Chad's band Wilson played their very last show in Detroit, some of them flew from Sweden to come see his little band play in Detroit.
Yeah.
And that's just that level of love, and they're excited about it. And they plus a lot of times bands that are still building your base, you become their little secret, man. They want to hang on tight to that, right? But they want to also be telling their friends, because they seem like, hey, I've heard this band. I'm the first to hear them. Let me tell you about them. So it's also too, it kind of bleeds into their kind of like, they're like, I'm number one, I found them first kind of thing. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Chad, we want to do walk the plank, and then we'll let these gentlemen probably get to bed at this point.
if they're down, walk
Yeah.
the plank, if you don't mind, is we just gonna ask questions just like we did, but they're usually kind of weird off kilter things. And then at the very end of our question, which is just one from each, we'll ask you a question from last week's guest who didn't know who this week's guest is, right? And then you'll get to do the same thing for next week's guest, right?
All right.
Justin, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You go first, because I'm sure you've been waiting on this all week.
This my question too is going to be, so if I really did and this is my question, you would be like, you fucking idiot, what is this smell you associate your childhood? That's my question. What smell do you associate with your childhood?
All right.
What?
Well, I know what mine is. It's that weird smell of like, like underneath your bed, sometimes it smells ever so slightly like white chocolate. That kind of.
No, not my bed. But if that's what your underneath your bed smells like, I need to know more.
White chocolate has a really distinct smell.
Yeah, like the advent calendar, cupboard, Lego box. White chocolate.
Oh, cardboard.
Like old
yeah,
walnuts.
Yeah, it's got an edge of it.
Yeah, okay.
They're bored.
I love you. I know what I'm getting you for your birthday, buddy.
All right,
a nice advent board full of fucking white chocolate.
White chocolate.
What about you, Jamie?
Look, man, mine's not going to be anywhere near as good as that. I just remember I used to smell pens a lot when I was younger. I used to really like the smell of them. And I got these scented pens, and one was like an autumnal smell, and it was just really nice and smoky. So that's one smell. It's quite a specific kind of smoky flavor that takes me back.
That's
That's
what
And the
amazing.
ink,
I
the
didn't know
ink
that
itself, or the
existed.
plastic? The plastic or the ink itself?
Maybe a mixture of both. It's sort of like in between like smoke flavoring that you get on like crisps or chips and like actual barbecue smoke, somewhere in between.
Were you
crossed
putting
with,
your
like,
tongue to the? Were you putting your tongue to the ink? How did you? This tastes like a crisp.
I was smelling it. I don't know. I can't
Okay.
explain it. It smells like the taste of chips, smoky
Oh.
bacon chips.
I'm so intrigued. Not
All right.
only-
Yeah.
Yeah. James?
I was just thinking, yeah, like probably something from school, like Play-Doh or something, or like the art department, like paint and stuff. So I don't really,
Yeah.
I don't really like go in for crafts and arts and stuff nowadays. But yeah, that's what I associate kind of my childhood with. It's like the art stuff at school, I'd say. Yeah, so like Play-Doh and like paints and stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I immediately smelled some Elmer's glue as soon as you said that. I could
Yeah,
smell
man. Yeah. That glue. Yeah.
it. Yeah. How about you, Justin? What's your question?
What is your worst bad habit?
Ooh,
Mm. That we're willing to share.
Ooh.
willing
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, sure. Let it rip.
Worst bad habit. Oh, that's so difficult. I only have really brilliant habits, man. Oh, let me think about this.
Yeah,
Oh,
think of a
mine
good
would be
one.
like when you make a cup of tea, for some reason I'll just like leave the tea bag on top of the spoon on top of the kitchen counter, and like not put the tea bag in the bin or the spoon in the sink, behind the dishwasher. Just leave
Well,
let
isn't
it
that
ferment.
isn't that
I don't know
proper
why that
though?
is.
Because that way you can get another cup out of that bag. So you're basically being frugal. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's a good habit.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'll
right.
take that.
The next
Yeah.
time who's ever hurt you and scarred you with that, you should tell them that. And the next time they're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, James, get in here and throw your fucking tea bag away." You're like,
Yeah,
actually,
I left it for you, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
What about you, Jamie?
Oh, shit, I can't think of a good one, a titillating, funny one. At the minute, it's just smoking cigarettes, man. Just Marlboro Reds. It's such a bad habit. I need to quit.
This
That's
guy
apparently-
like 6-7 years you weren't smoking, dude.
I quit. Yeah, I used to smoke like a chimney, and then I quit for 6 years. And then last year, we were on a tour that was so long with Clutch. I was like, "Fuck this! I'm
Oh.
starting again." I need an excuse. So yeah, man, that's it.
All right.
Plain
Clutch will
as
do
that.
that to you, man. That's
Ciggies.
a Siggies.
Hmm. Come on then,
Okay,
Jim, bail
so
me out. Bail me out. What you got?
yeah.
I don't know. I've got so I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with like I do this thing that I just chew, like when you bite the inside of your lips and your cheeks and stuff. Like the inside of my cheeks and mouth is this craters constantly. So I'm just, constantly doing that and then chewing like the little bits, not the nail, but the soft bit
Oh, the
next
cuticles.
cuticle,
Yeah.
man. Oh,
Yeah,
The hangnail. You're biting the hangnail. Yeah.
like this always. And then you
yeah,
get
I go in for a bit of that.
Are
you're
you
like,
Go in for a bit of
nervous?
that.
Do you have anxiety?
I'm not nervous. I'm just like fucking gold member, I think. I just like
You're bored?
it's so weird.
Are you thinking when this happened? Are you like, like processing something?
No, it'll often be like when I see like if we do an interview that's filmed or something, and I see that I'm doing it there, I'm like, what? Why am I doing that? It's not conscious, and that is
Wow.
worrying. Yeah,
So when you're just like in neutral, just like chugging away, unaware, that's
yeah.
when you start to go after them.
Not even 1,000 revs, man. Like 600 to 700 revs, and yeah, I'm just chewing skin
You
off
know
my.
what? The real opportunity in this question was to get us to say what each other's bad habits are. I think we get some.
Oh
We got
shit.
time.
Oh,
We
Break
can
up
yeah.
right
We should
now.
go
Go
there.
on.
We shouldn't have said that.
Oh yeah, that's created a toxic environment, boys.
Yeah, man. Perfect timing.
James is kind
Anyway.
of far away too, right? You said
I'm
he's in
down.
London.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So our last question, funny enough, I just read it. Last week we had a guest by the name of Mike's Dead. He's going to be doing the stowaways with us. He asked the question, what goal of yours would you consider to be the pinnacle? Which clearly I accidentally asked that a little earlier, but we can talk about it still if you'd like, if it's a personal goal. Maybe that's a good way to segue. A personal goal that is your pinnacle of your life.
Well, the pinnacle is like um when you think about those moments where it's like, well, you think of that as a moment. And there's like a few venues, I think, like bucket list venues, like you said, like Headland Glastonbury, like imagine that. But like playing something like there's a couple like Red Rocks Amphitheatre or like Madison Square Gardens or like the Royal Albert Hall in London. There's things like those things. They would probably be my idea of like the pinnacle of what you can do in our line of work.
Yeah,
For sure.
I guess maybe for me it would be for the Beatles to reform purely so they could do a cover set of Tigercub.
Fuck yeah.
God, I love that.
Would that
That's
include
good.
any
Are they doing it as a two-piece?
No, they're
No.
gonna be the two of them, but they're gonna use that kind of holographic technology they're using in
Oh,
the
yes, of course.
So-
Yes. Keeping it
No,
pure.
they-
I get it. Yeah.
they're going to exhume
I was gonna
the deceased members.
Oh, like
They need
Jurassic
to
Park.
invent the technology.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna get the DNA of John Lennon out of a mosquito encased in amber, and make him with DNA from a frog.
They can just get the Night King. He can come and just put his hand on him and wake him up.
I was just thinking about Jurassic Park. I don't know how.
I was thinking,
why I
I'm
but,
just thinking
dude,
about
Game
Chuck
of Thrones,
Norris.
man. Game of Thrones.
There's a lot of ways
resurrected.
it could go wrong.
Yeah, all of them actually.
Now we have
They
to
just did our
next
EP.
week.
Was that? Oh, did we get the answer then? Yeah, we got venues, we got Beatles. Jamie, do you have one?
Yeah, I think I'd like to play Brixton Academy, Red Rocks. Yeah, it would be venue or band success based. Yeah, fuck knows, it's hard to distill. I'm panicking now.
No.
I'd love to. I used to watch a lot
Like
of like
Win a
documentaries
Mercury.
and
That's good.
retrospectives and stuff. It would be nice to be included in some sort of like cultural retrospective of being significant or whatever in the time, little small amount of time that we existed, getting a nod,
Yeah.
or being acknowledged in that way. afterwards. I think that's the ultimate goal, is to be seen as legends in the eyes of youngsters.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so
So-
you guys get to ask a question now. You should
So
ask,
not picking up your certified platinum albums. Okay, let's get that off.
well, how about one question that the three of you all agree on for next week? You can't know who the guest is.
Can I suggest one, boys? You know that
Please.
one that
Oh, yeah.
Danny asked us in New England. What
Oh
kind of
yeah,
steel
let them
is-
throw themselves under the bus. You mean?
Or do you mean
Yeah.
one that's like you're running a church and you get one blood sacrifice and one body sacrifice? What would yours be? Is it that one?
It's not that one, but let's keep that on the table. It's
Mhm.
what popular artist do you think is totally overrated?
Ooh.
Remember that one?
Uh,
An
yeah,
artist
yeah.
that everyone loves, you have to pick one that is totally overrated.
Okay, what popular
That
artist?
that so many people absolutely love, but for some
You
reason
think- you think-
can't get on board with it, and you can't. You just
Yeah.
you just hate them.
Okay.
Do you have
Everyone-
one in mind? Do you have one in mind?
Yeah, who'd you?
Done it. We've all done it.
We've all done it. I mean, it's a complete vibe killer. So maybe you should have one in the back pocket.
What was the second one?
question.
That you just in case they don't want to answer it or something.
No, that's the question right there.
Oh, it
Not
is the
forget
question,
five.
man. I
That-
do
that's
I
the
do
one.
love
That's
where he
the
was
only
going with
question, isn't it?
with the body or
blood
what was the-
sacrifice.
yeah.
Keep that one in the
Okay,
back
but we'll
pocket.
move on to question 2. Then I'll just ask him the blood sacrifice question, and we'll wrap it up from there, man. All right, I love the question. I think that we're gonna get, knowing who the next guest is, I think we'll get a really great answer. So thank you very
Yeah.
much, guys.
Yeah, Tigercub
Hey,
all
well,
round.
I'll wait for the Twitter
Listen,
storm.
That's right. That's right. Hey, Jamie, James, and Jimmy, thank you guys so much. Tigercub, Perfume of Decay, the album, and we're going to see you in February. So again, thank you so much, guys, for being part of this. We really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Pleasure.
Loved
Thanks.
it.
man.
Hey, thank you both. Cheers.
So much.
Have
Can't
a
wait
good
to see you,
holiday.
Feb. Yeah, get some
Yeah,
sleep.
man. We'll
Who knows
see you
when.
there.
Yeah.
See you on the flip.
See you, Feb.
All
All
right.
right, guys. Take care.
Bye, fellas.
Cheers. Take it
Bye.
easy.